20 to 30, we're good to go. All right, so, and if you want to tap the chat button, you should see some chat that'll come in. I just want to make sure that people can hear me okay. And you'll see some chat in a second. It'll take a second. So, just so you guys know, so we're down here at the Blind Tiger in Charleston, South Carolina. Got over, we just got a chance to talk to some locals here. Some folks from around the way, so a couple from Mississippi, another gentleman who's local. We're just going to get a chance to chit-chat with them for a minute and kind of just talk about like the climate of things right now in this area and just kind of their take on things as it is. So if you would in the comments, let me know how the mic sounds. I didn't have a chance to get everything all set up, so we're just going to have to work with what we got here. So actually, I'm going to...
What kind of Belvini? What kind of scotch do you drink?
He's not a scotch drinker. There we go. All right, that should be good. Is there any comments coming up?
Yeah. Hello. Hi.
Just let me know if it sounds okay. Actually, here, we'll do this real fast. Let me check.
Waiting for some comments. Hey, CJ. Fire, 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 fire.
We'll take that.
Sounds good.
Sounds good? Okay, good deal. I'm just going to double check it real quick.
With an exclamation point.
Oh, hey.
Oh.
Okay, I'll take that. Just give me 1 second here. I'm just going to go check it for myself. Not that I don't trust you guys, but... Alright, that should be good. Is there any comments coming up?
Yeah. Hello. Hi.
Just let me know if it sounds okay. Actually, here, we'll do this real fast. Let me check. I'll take that, too.
Hey, CJ. Fire, 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 fire.
Alright, cool.
Fire, fire, fire.
We're good there. I'm going to set this real quick to medium. There we go. Alright, cool.
You want to check sound one more time?
Yeah, guys, just let me know how the sound is right here. I just had to check my levels real fast. Sounds good? Okay, good deal. I'm just going to double check it real quick.
Somebody's a midnight patient.
Oh, hey. Okay, I'll take that. Just give me 1 second here. I'm just going to go check it for myself. Alright, so I'm just going to... Sorry, guys, 1 sec.
This is you guys watching CJ, watching you guys watch him.
Yeah. Alright, so I'm just going to... Sorry, guys, 1 sec. Alright, cool. We're going to turn it back up, and then we're going to be good to go. There we go. Alright, cool. Nice.
My grandma loved that too.
You guys mind if I slide in here now and chat with y'all? I don't mean to interrupt. No, you're good. Oh, you guys going to be in on it too?
Well, they asked to record.
Yeah, you're gonna chat with them.
They're doing it like a web thing.
Yeah, so I do a live stream show, and I'm from Seattle, and I've been covering a lot of things that have been happening here since George Floyd. And so I've made my way from Seattle through Portland, a lot of the protests between the two, out to Minneapolis several times, D.C., back through Louisville, North Carolina, I mean all over the country. And we find that there's a different, not a theme, but I would say there's a different element at play everywhere you go, you know, depending on...
Wrinkle. It's a variation on the theme.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it comes down to mainstream media playing a narrative that I felt when I first started was pitting people against each other in a big way. And there's always like the underlying story about what's really going on. And so we got a chance to come down here. I was in North Carolina covering what happened with Andrew Brown Jr. I don't know if you saw that. And so
I didn't see.
he was shot by the police, and then they wouldn't release the body cam footage. And when they did release the footage, it was only 20 seconds, but it was an abridged version that the family got a chance to see, but they're still fighting releasing the whole footage of what happened in this officer-involved fatality. And we're seeing a lot of issues that come down to race, and that's kind of the theme that keeps coming up. And so I was really interested to come back down here to South Carolina, get a little bit further south and talk to folks and find out what the temperature is here and how people really feel about like that race card as it comes up and racism in America right now.
All right, so
The part I didn't have my whole mic set up, so we're working with my mini extension here.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm actually the right and the wrong person to tell you about this.
Okay. Now, where are you from?
I'm originally from Miami Beach, but I spent 20 years in New York, so I'm a New Yorker.
You said Brooklyn, right?
Brooklyn, yeah.
Which is Brooklyn. If you guys have never been to Brooklyn, like it'll sum you up and pick you out real quick. Like by that I mean like it'll tell you what they think about you real fast.
It used to be like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it used to be like that. Brooklyn is more like the environment we're in right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it used to. I mean, like you roll the clock back about 20, 25 years. Brooklyn was that, for lack of a better term, authentic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now from what I gathered, you have some pretty, you have some opinions, you have some views, and I'd like to hear about it.
Okay, so ask away.
So what are your views on racism as it is in America today?
So, racism is mostly a media-driven narrative. The real issue in America isn't race, but it's class. Now the thing is, there's a correlation between race and class, but it's not a lockstep correlation. Meaning that, for example, what I go through and what Oprah goes through are two different realities.
Right.
We're both black, but it's two completely different realities. That's because Oprah is in a separate class from me.
Sure.
Now the thing is, in this country, there's a larger percentage of people who look like me who fit this class, or at least fit this perceived class. So people think it's race, but it's really class, because we focus on what happens in the big cities, right? But for example, a lot of people don't know that America is a nation of a bunch of poor white people who go through the exact same thing. The only difference is the poor white people don't live in the big cities, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Your best representation of what happens to poor white people would be like the Dukes of Hazzard.
The Duke.
Have white people chasing down other white people, but you don't see that because and then even that is problematic.
It used to be like breaking news was the big reason. Like you'd be excited to turn on the news. It was like, oh man, breaking news, and now
And the thing,
you know what it is.
And the thing is, because the ability to collect information is democratized. Now the ante's upped on the news.
Yeah.
Because the average person can find out better information, deeper information than the news. So what does the news have left? Okay, well then we have to go to sensationalism.
Right.
Because the common man can do better journalism at a fraction of the cost than a TV station.
Right. Agreed. Now that being said, a lot of the things that we've seen in the news, I mean, this last year, and a huge part is BLM.
Yeah.
Right? What are your thoughts on BLM?
Good. I'm glad you asked me. I am no friend of BLM.
Okay.
I think they are a movement that was foisted upon black people. Their stated aims on their website, as late as a couple months ago, was actually against the dissolution of the black family.
Right.
Now, when it comes to culture, nation, societies, they all have a fundamental unit, and that's the family. Well, if they're talking about reconfiguring the family, rejiggering the family, or outright dissolving the family, then you have to consider them more a fifth column than an actual legit movement. And then on top of that, who made BLM the preeminent movement by themselves?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And people don't ask the question. People get caught up in the branding because Black lives do matter. Right. Black lives do matter.
Sure.
Okay. But the thing is, most people are surface thinkers because they think, well, Black lives matter. Yes, that's right. Okay, but not everything that comes in a palatable package is good for you.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like for example, we'll take cigarettes. They used to have commercials where it was like great to have cigarettes.
Yeah.
Right? You have film from like the 50s where people were walking in clouds of DDT.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that was all good. So like you can promote poison as long as it comes in a palatable package.
Sure. Yeah. Do you feel that BLM has hit an impact where it's raised like some awareness for people that may not have been aware? And I don't want to say woke because I'm so tired of hearing that term.
So
you know what I mean?
For the people who may not be aware, no, they haven't. Because if you live in America, right? If you live in America long enough, you know that America has social problems. BLM didn't highlight anything. They profited off of it.
Yeah.
And then to make things worse, no one has done an actual audit of the organization.
And you're seeing stuff.
So if you want to know if the organization's doing any good, forget BLM, right? Just take any charitable organization, right? If you're giving money to this organization, you want to see where your money's going.
Sure.
You want to see an audit. You want to see that you want to see that maybe 20% of the budget went into marketing, blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
There's no audit of BLM.
That's a solid point.
So it's a black box. It's a black box. Not only is it a black box, it's taking money from people who look like me, right? Not giving a firm accounting to the people that they've taken the money from, right? And then, this is my message to the leaders of BLM. Submit to a fucking audit, okay? All of you. Because for you to take money from people who look like me, look like him, and buy mansions,
that's what I was about to ask you.
You're lucky you're in a first world country. Very, very lucky. You're lucky to do what you do. You couldn't do what you do in Africa. You couldn't do what you do in Latin America. You couldn't do what you do in Asia. You definitely couldn't fucking do what you do in the Middle East. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So now,
yeah.
Now, what do you feel? Okay, now you're hitting. I mean, I really appreciate what you're saying because you're cutting through a lot of the fog of what people feel the need to agree with, because it's like the construct of America now is this cancel culture, and it's like either you agree with it or you're obviously a racist. You know, you're either with it or you're against it. And I'm like, no, that's not how it is, though.
Here's a problem with cancel culture. There's no line, right? So there's no actual comprehensive end goal.
Yeah.
Right? There's no we're gonna cancel people until we achieve all this, that, and the third.
Right.
So because there's no stated line, guess what ends up happening? You end up canceling people, but you continue to cancel people, and then eventually the people that help you cancel people, then they get canceled themselves.
Yep.
So now you have situations where like you have Sarah Silverman telling Caitlyn Jenner you're transphobic. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't stop.
Right.
It doesn't stop because there was no plan to end.
Yeah.
There was no plan to end. There was no exit strategy. There was no policy under which, okay, when we achieve these set gains, that say now we can dissolve ourselves.
There was no resolution ever planned on anything.
No,
you couldn't. There was no apologies that was going to be laid out. There was nothing.
There was no. And then, wait a minute. And there was no path to redemption.
Right.
So there was no policy to say, okay, since you fucked up, this is our prescribed way of getting you right. And when you get right, then we can reestablish your citizenship.
Yeah.
Because then you have people who get canceled, apologize, still lose their job.
Yeah.
Okay? And guess what? You wait long enough, you wait 18 months, everybody that's in the frame line of this camera will get canceled for something. I promise you.
They'll try.
Because there's because there's no line.
Yeah.
There's no line. And then the worst part is the people who are behind cancel culture. The people who are behind cancel culture, they make their decisions on social policy based on what they feel. Here's the problem. Here's the problem with basing shit on what you feel. Okay, if you live long enough, you know that emotions are temporary. Right. For example, let's say you and I we get into a disagreement, right? And I'm like, I hate you, you hate me, right? That's temporary. It only lasts like right then and there.
Yeah.
There will be some like the time be like, okay, let's break that shit up. But the problem is, cancel culture is permanent. When you're canceled, you're permanently canceled with no path of redemption. So in cancel culture, ultimately, in the end, if it runs through its logical progression, in the end, everyone loses.
Right. And I think one of the biggest things I've seen about that too is because let's say that I kick off this cancel idea with you.
Yeah, you cancel.
What happens, right, is everybody starts getting on my bandwagon. I can be cool with you now, but now everybody else is like, you got to try to make it right with every other person. You can't do it. It's this ripple effect of cancel.
Wait long enough, right? You wait long enough, then somebody who has the free time, somebody broke, somebody who has a free time will actually go through the internet and then see that upside down trident that you have on your hat, be like, okay, that's a white power symbol.
Oh, easy,
right? And then next thing you know, after you've canceled me, they cancel you.
Yeah.
There's no line.
The second you get in the limelight, I get questioned about it. It's the Mariners Trident, which is funny, the Seattle Mariners. Right. But I've had that question before.
Right.
Because it looks a little bit like the Antifa arrows that they have, like the.
See, I'm in the South.
And people just make assumptions.
All right. Welcome to the East Coast. I wouldn't know none of that shit.
Okay. That's my next question for you then. Okay. So, I'm in Tacoma, and we were just talking about this a couple months ago now. There was a protest. There was an officer who drove through a crowd of people after a street race.
Yeah.
Basically, they called in for all of the Antifa folks to come up from Portland. Like, they came in from all Seattle, right? They came into Tacoma. Into a largely gentrified black neighborhood in downtown Tacoma.
Watch this.
While they were repping in black bloc, right? And block. And this is what I'm talking about. I understand protesting. I understand your need for anonymity and you want to maintain your discretion. But what I had an issue with was this. They went through that neighborhood. They smashed up cars. They smashed up businesses. And they did it all while waving a Black Lives Matter banner.
I'm going to take it to the next level. So I moved here from Brooklyn, right? So we have BLM in New York and whatnot.
And you've seen a lot of protests up there too. We've been seeing a lot of marches that are happening there. Yeah.
I've seen a couple of protests. Here's the crazy part about Antifa and Black Lives Matter, right? Ready for this one? How many of y'all actually have black friends? How many? In fact, I'll put it like this. Most of you can count most of your black friends on one hand. This is. And the crazy part was I was in Brooklyn when they had the riots, right? And I would see white people marching with the BLM banners and whatnot, walking past me. Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. I'm like, you're walking past. I'm the only black person on the block. You say nothing to support me. So it's not even about Black Lives. It's about this empty fucking slogan. You know what I'm saying? Like the same way how you have people tattooing the Apple logo. Like you're not a shareholder. What the fuck is he doing? Tattooing that
Unless
shit
you're
on
sponsored, you don't need to get that tattoo. You don't need that tattoo.
Right, unless you're a fucking shareholder with preferred stock.
And it's got to be preferred.
Yeah, you're like you have no business rocking an Apple tattoo.
People want to be a part of something, I think, you know.
Here's a crazy part. A bunch of those people in Antifa got Apple tattoos.
So if you happen to be in Block or Antifa and you have an Apple tattoo, my man's talking to you right now. So let me ask you, do you feel, okay, now, in the protest community, you've got kind of an overlapping of ideology, right? You've got kind of the anarchist mentality that comes into that, right? And then you've got like the BLM part that come into these protests. And one of the things that keeps coming up is they're saying that a lot of these like socialist movements and Marxist movements have piggybacked BLM and pushed people that are actually there pushing for racial equality out taking over that.
So you actually have the sequence all wrong.
Lay it on me.
Yeah, you have the sequence all wrong. BLM, the socialist and Marxist movements didn't piggyback BLM. BLM, at the very core, was a Marxist movement.
Okay.
Right? Their leaders were on tape saying that they were trained Marxists. Okay? So, like at the very core, they're about the state subsuming families. You see, you're white, I'm black, everyone's so and so, right? But the fundamental unit of all our societies is the family. Well, if you're a Marxist, right? If for some of you who actually read the Communist Manifesto, go read it, right? The ultimate goal is for the state to replace the family. All right. So a lot of these Antifa people have never read the critical texts of the philosophies that they espouse.
Okay.
They've never read them. They've never read Das Kapital. They never read the Communist Manifesto. Okay. They've never read these things. What they've done is that they decided to ally themselves in movements that are tangentially or tangentially adjacent to whatever it is that they are. But the thing is, these things are actually incompatible, right? Like yeah. It's, like I said, you had to order backwards.
Okay.
Yeah. They didn't piggyback. They were the driving force from the very beginning.
Roger. Okay.
Yeah.
We're good.
Okay.
Okay. So let me ask you this now. So state of America right now. We all know that we're still pushing as a young country towards an ultimate level of racial equality. We came from a place where it was already at, the mass deficit.
Yeah.
And we're young, we're moving that direction.
Yeah.
Do you feel like we're moving in the right direction? And is it progressive? Are we getting there?
I believe this. There's a couple things that happened in the last 2 years that we can all agree on, right? We can all agree that Jussie Smollett lied. We can all agree that Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. And we can all agree that racial situation in this country is not getting better. This is something that all agree, right? Okay. Everything else is up for debate. Even 2 + 2 being 4. Okay? So do I think that we are improving? No. Do I see a good future for the United States? No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. It can't happen.
Well, what do we need to do to make that happen? You say it can't happen. If it were possible, what would that be, and how would that be, and what would it take?
Our only hope for this thing called the United States is for a fundamental change in our government. We have to change from being a republic to be more of like a federative cantonate, like Switzerland, meaning each part of the United States would actually have its own laws, and the only thing that'd be unifying us would be a common defense and currency. Okay. Because the laws that are passed at the national level are incompatible with what happened with the states, right? Like, for example, we take something like abortion. There's a lot of people that's not for it. There's a lot of people that There's a lot of people that's for it. Instead of enacting a national law that's going to constantly piss off people, right?
Sure.
Leave that shit up to the states. Like basically, it's going to come down to the states. It's going to come down to the counties. It's going to come down to the to cities, to municipal districts.
Yeah.
But leaving such important matters in the hands of the federal government, it's only going to create more strife.
Okay. So you just backtrack something that I'm curious about. So
Go ahead.
kind of went down the line, right? We made it from federal level on a national level, made it to state, and even made it down to municipalities, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about change. Do you feel that if we were to make forward progress and growth, that if we started at that local level, that community level, that's where we could see a positive growth for America?
So here's the thing: you may have to abandon the idea. You may have to abandon your current idea of what America actually is. So the thing is, we think of America as like a tightly unified country, right? You may have to just disabuse yourself of that notion.
Okay.
Right? You may have to think of, okay, Washington State. I live in Washington State. I am a citizen of Washington, as opposed to I am a citizen of the United States.
Okay.
And then even within Washington, what may have to happen is that, for example, Seattle and Tacoma, they may have to become city-states separate from the rest of Washington, because the rest of Washington does not like what the fuck is happening in Seattle. Right? Same thing with Oregon. If you take Portland out of Oregon,
Yeah.
it's a completely different state.
Yeah, it is. I can agree on that. Absolutely, it is.
For New York, for New York State,
Yeah.
if you take New York City out of New York, it's a completely different state.
Got that. Yeah. Okay.
So what you're gonna have to have? You're gonna have to have states and city states, and they're gonna have to exist on their own. Because to have a city dominate a state is insane. It's insane. All it does is it's engender strife.
Okay.
Right? If you want to have a law saying that, okay, we're going to do this, then all right, fine. You do it where you're at.
Right.
If you want to have, like, for example, some crazy people want to reinstitute segregation, you do it in your state.
Right.
But don't make it a national law. Like things of that nature. Because what would end up happening is that people would drift towards areas that's more accommodating to their beliefs.
Okay.
When you have national laws.
Sure.
When you have national laws, you eliminate that. For example, Second Amendment, gun. You're saying, people are about gun control and stuff like that, right? Okay, fine. There's a simple solution for that. You pick a state where you're allowed to be armed, or you pick a state where you're not allowed to be armed. I moved to South Carolina specifically because I like being armed.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like that.
Sure.
I like castle doctrine. I like the fact that if you act up at my doorstep, it could end for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Right? Some people don't like that. Okay, well, live in one of those city states.
Right.
All right. So,
are you afraid? Maybe, I mean, not afraid, but do you feel like maybe that might end up causing more divide?
hell no, because the people who, for example, we'll just go back to gun control. The people who don't like guns, they also tend to live in cities. They also tend to live in large cities. Fine, you go live in New York. You go live in Boston. You go live in LA.
Sure.
Right. Leave the remainder of the landmass alone.
Yeah.
You know, and that's fine. You can live where you can't have guns, and I live where I can.
There you go.
It's
okay.
it's not
No.
hard. It's not hard.
Like you said, you'll actually start homogenizing or, organizing yourself along with other people that are like-minded individuals.
Exactly.
Okay.
Allow people the opportunity to find their own tribe.
That's a term we've heard a lot recently, is that the tribal mentality. And I think that a lot of people are kind of coming around to the idea that, just like what you're saying, that there isn't as big a collective as we'd like to believe. And I think it's hard because generationally that's what it was. We were just out doing a tour of the what was it called? The Yorktown. And we were talking about World War II and how there's a unity of the nation. And there was a common goal and a common enemy. And there was, a common thread of work. We were all striving towards the same thing, and it really bonded a nation. But
sort of.
But because there was a common goal, right?
Sort of.
Well, okay.
Sort of.
Okay.
Sort of.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about that real quick.
sort of.
And as we jump in hey, there is actually, just so you know, there's a battery backup over here, I believe, in my bag. And then if you want to grab in that second charger here.
We're going to have to unplug the mic.
Yeah, but there's an extension for that too. In that other bag. Because I want to ask you, since we're down here, about.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, let me get this dialed in real quick, and then let me grab that other bag. Where's that other bag?
I don't know.
Oh, it's over there. Yeah. I really appreciate the talk. Man, for real. Like you said, ask the right one.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Growing up,
Yeah.
like I was talking about before, the gentleman at the Yorktown, the tour guide.
Yeah.
His take on growing up from like when he was younger to now. What his thoughts on were like racism from growing up at a younger age to now. How would you take that from when you were a kid?
Not yet. I want to hear this too. I want to make sure we got that.
All right, sorry.
All right.
Yeah, no, that's actually right up the alley of the question I was hoping to ask. Yeah.
Yeah, you real deep.
Oh,
Take that away from us, but you do here. You can't finish a whole interview.
I'm sorry.
But we chill.
You doing this? Okay, I feel it. Okay.
These are the type of conversations that people need to be having.
Absolutely.
That's what's lacking in the country right now.
Yeah, and what's lacking, not even a conversation, people willing to fucking talk.
People are scared to talk. Yeah. No, the problem is people they're not wanting to hear what you have to say. They're waiting until they can talk next.
Yeah.
That's the problem. They don't want to hear what you have to say. They just want to talk what they want to say.
Sorry, guys. Barely we're sitting out.
Sorry, that's my soapbox.
No,
Here, I got this. You go over there.
So, 1 second. We're getting there. These are all the technical aspects of this hustle here. All right, Kelly, you're gonna have to deal with this
I got it.
the extra weight on here. Maybe do something like.
You're just gonna have to leave and let me handle it.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I'm gonna walk away, but it's gonna. Here, you got it. Here you go. I'm gonna make sure it's not too dark.
It's kind of a little dark. That's a lot though.
Yeah, hopefully it wasn't too dark. You got this. You're gonna have to grab that. There you go, bud. All right, cool. Yeah, same question.
That's gonna go.
Yeah. So, Kelly, why don't you pose that the way you did before? See, I told you. You might just have to hold the phone itself, dude. These are some of the drawbacks of having to deal with.
Coming up, and let's do it.
All right.
So, Kelly, how did you word that? The last question you asked
I
everybody.
was just asking about kind of the same question we asked with the guy at the Yorktown, the tour guide, in the sense of him growing up, his opinion on racism from a child to his age now is probably 100% different from your take on it.
Probably.
And that's what I would love to hear.
Well, he's an older gentleman too, so he was kind of in that baby boomer generation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as a younger individual, what is your thought on
Well,
that?
I'm not that young. So yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm Gen X. So
Okay.
so I like we. I don't know. I'm guessing you're a millennial, so I bridge his.
I'm 74.
You're 74.
74.
He identifies as 70.
I identify as 74.
You have papers for that?
I have papers, yeah.
Okay.
I left him with my dog
Okay.
in his sleeve, his jacket,
In his vest.
in his vest, yeah,
Okay.
on my dog vest.
Okay. So to explain racism.
Yeah.
Right. This country actually got less racist. It's actually still less racist. Right. It's actually what has happened.
Less
right?
racist than
than the past. 100%.
it was. Okay, so it's getting less. We're moving. Okay,
100%. Because I'll just tell you, do we have Jim Crow right now?
No.
Okay, you're a white guy talking to you right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, Are there whites only water fountains?
No, there's not even gender specific bathrooms anymore in there.
Okay,
you see that?
Okay, so
it's just bathroom,
right,
bathroom.
Right, so we could piss in the same urinal, right?
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
All right, so that shit's done. Now, what has happened is that you have a generation of people who don't have a purpose. This is very important.
Okay.
And the pandemic robbed people of employment. And when you rob people of employment, you rob people of a purpose. Okay? So you have people cooped up wherever the hell they at for a year.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have people where if you don't have a purpose, you're seeking meaning, especially if you're young. You're seeking meaning in your life. Right. Well, guess what?
Okay.
BLM comes around, Antifa comes around. We're anti-racist. We're fighting against racism, right? Despite the fact that you still don't have any black friends, right? And you give people what is known in French as a raison d'être. Okay, you give them a reason to be.
Reason to be.
Okay,
yeah.
And that reason to be is a fight against patriarchy, fight against racism, right? Okay. What ends up happening when you fight against the natural progression of people, because people, when they spend enough time with each other, they get less racist, right? When you get to know people over a period of time, right? At first it's rough.
Sure.
At first it's rough, but over a period of time. Now, racism decreasing is not an even process. Some places it decreases more than others. Some places like Mississippi, it becomes more and more ingrained. But it's not like they're still lynching people. It's not like the 1920s.
No, but it's palpable. I was in Greenwood, and I got a gentleman at a gas station. I stopped to get gas, and he came up to me at the gas pump, and he took the gas pump out and put it in. He's like, "You just need to keep driving." He told me to just keep driving.
Yeah.
And at the time, this is about 18, 19 years ago, I think that it was just the way I showed up. I was in a rental car, and I think he would just...
I'm glad you said that.
I didn't fit the bill for that area.
Right. 18, 19 years ago, what year would that be?
It's been 2000...
That's 2002, right?
Yeah, right in the early 2000s.
That's 2002.
Yeah, it would have been early 2000s. So if my math's off,
watch this. Who was the president then?
Was it George?
It was George Bush. No. It was the son.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was George Bush. Yeah, I was wondering if it's Clinton, but that came
2000.
Yeah. Because he came in right before 9/11.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I know this president.
Yeah.
I'm clearly I'm the senior guy here. So, right.
He's our senior analyst for this conversation,
Right.
which is working out.
The reason why I say that is because the mere fact that you couldn't even remember who the goddamn president was, it lets you know just how different America was back then. Right? We think about it. In 2002, the idea that you have a transgender assistant secretary of health would have been unthinkable. Unthinkable. Society has changed so much in 20 years.
Do you think having a black vice president would have been as unthinkable at the same time?
I would answer that question if she was black. She's not black.
Okay.
Now, this might be shocking to a lot of black people, so let me explain.
All right, comments up real fast. I want to hear this. I want to make sure the mic's running.
Hold on.
Yeah, you want to hear this.
Yeah, make sure that the mic's up and running because we got it all plugged in. Yeah.
You want to hear this. So, a lot of people think Kamala Harris is black because her father's Jamaican. Let me explain. I'm Jamaican.
Okay.
Jamaica is a country, in a sense, a lot like the United States. The only difference is the majority population is black.
Right.
You have Chinese Jamaicans. You have Indian Jamaicans. You have Jamaicans whiter than you.
That's hard because I'm super white.
Well, guess what?
I was getting sunburned by that fire.
Listen, they're Jamaicans who cannot withstand the sun in their own country.
Right.
Okay. So the reason why I bring that up is because Kamala Harris's father is Indian.
Okay.
Her mother's from Sri Lanka. Not a drop of her is black. Now the thing is, people try to cite that she went to Howard University. Guess who else went to Howard University? Me.
Okay.
All right. Just because you went to a black school doesn't make you black.
Right.
All right. I have a very good friend who is an editor at a prominent publication. He's white like you. He went to Howard with me. So going to Howard, going to an HBCU, that doesn't make you black. She's a member of a black sorority. Doesn't automatically make you black. Kamala Harris was Indian right up until she decided to run for president. Ask any black person in California. You don't have to ask me. There's still articles celebrating her as a first Indian American Attorney General. Okay? Not a drop of her is black. And then to take it to the next level for you people who want to think that she's black. Okay?
I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Sorry.
What do you mean? You might just have to hold it, bro. These are the technical difficulties we deal with on the fly in the field.
I get it.
Going by hand.
Okay.
You got to keep it horizontal, though.
So not only she's not black, she's been Indian her entire life. All right. Let's show you how much of a fraud this woman is. I don't like her.
So we just unpacked the whole bag of issues
show you
here.
how much of a fraud she is, right? Her correct title is Vice President Imhoff. Harris is her maiden name. Okay.
Imhoff.
Yeah, that's her husband's name.
Okay.
Yeah, she's not Harris. She's not Harris.
A lot of people go by their main name. Ricky Lake
Right.
had her show by Ricky Lake.
Right, but the thing is, she's in a official capacity, so she has to she's supposed to go by her government name. Her government name is Kamala Imhoff. That's a fact. Anybody who's you understand the vice presidency at the end of the day is a federal job. Okay.
Why do you feel that she is doing that? Is it so that she could appeal to the black community, or
100%, because the black community is larger than the Indian community. The black community is more influential, and she's not the only Indian person who faked being black to get black benefits. All right, there's a comedian by the name of Mindy Kaling. Her brother wrote a book about how he faked being black to get into medical school. Okay, you're not ready for this. You're not ready for this. You're not ready for this.
I'm not ready for most things, so this is right up my alley.
And for all of you online, you can fact check me. I promise you will lose.
or corroborate what they already feel too.
Because you want me to talk about Obama? You sure you want me to do that?
That's my girl over here. She's just saying, I don't know. I'm not.
Okay, so about 2008. Okay, 2008. So 2008 was the very beginning of the global financial crisis. Remember, this is about 13 years ago. A lot of us forgot it happened, right? So when Obama won, I was in Miami Beach. I'll never forget this. And it was white people ran up to me and said, "Aren't you so happy he's the president?" And this was my answer: "I'm happy you have hope." Because let's say he was a good man. Let's say he was a good. Let's say he meant everything, right? The problems that he faced at the eve of his presidency were so much bigger than his ability to solve them. Okay, right off the top, right? Like I said, before I assign any negative towards him. Now, my total opinion about Obama. The man was a fraud. And if he wasn't a fraud, he didn't do shit.
someone came up to you and they asked you, aren't you glad that Obama's president? And you said, well, I'm glad you have hope.
Yeah.
Do you feel that part of the hallmark for a nation's leader is part of it, is to give the nation hope?
No.
And in that, you don't feel like, okay.
No. People, all right. The masses and the elites have two completely different attitudes about their leaders. Okay? The masses look to their leaders as demigods. As like we project our aspirations, our best qualities onto this person.
We saw a lot of that in this most recent election.
The elites have a completely different attitude because you see, the elites, they know they actually own the people who become this. So the elites, they treat their politicians, especially like senators, presidents, they treat them more like superintendents.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't want a personal relationship with my superintendent. I don't want to have beer with my superintendent. I need for my superintendent to make sure that the halls are clean, the trash is taken out. I don't give a fuck what you do in your personal time. Don't break no fucking laws. I don't need to know you. See, the elites, they have the proper attitude. The masses worship your leaders. You're not supposed to worship no president. You're not supposed to worship any politician.
Right.
Because you're paying them, right? You're an employer. You're paying somebody, right? You don't worship the person that you pay. That's bass awkward, right? That's bass awkward. How is it you're giving money to somebody but you deify them? That's.
What if there was an artist? You commission them to do something like make you a sculpture or paint you a painting.
Okay, so here, all right, watch this. So,
and you kind of see where I'm leading that one as far as orchestrating things.
No, I don't. But I'm about to deconstruct that. Here's a problem with the artist. The artist, when he's commissioned for one thing with a definitive end goal. When you're a president, right, which means you're an executive, all right, you are the CEO. You are the CEO of the United States. I'm a activist shareholder. Okay? I need my CEO to pump up the value of my investment in this thing called the United States. If you do not, then we have this thing called an election where I get rid of your ass. Mm-hmm. Same thing happens in corporations. Same thing happens in the United States.
Did that happen this most recent election?
Oh boy, here we go.
We knew it was coming.
Yeah,
we knew.
Here we go. You're not gonna like what I'm about to say next.
No, trust me, you don't know that. Yeah.
All right. So
You'd be surprised how many fire emojis are popping up.
Okay. All right. So here's the thing.
Like I said, I have a very middle of the line, folks. Everyone just wants to hear everyone's opinion.
So here's the thing, right? A lot of people did not like Trump, right? And I can understand. Trump is not everybody's cup of tea.
Was he racist?
Wait a minute, watch this.
Okay.
I'm glad you said that. So, I hate to answer a question with a question.
That's fine.
But I'm going to have to go rhetorical. Can you measure racism?
No. I mean, and I'm basing it off of a comment that he made.
You sure about that?
When he made that comment, he said, I'm probably the least racist person in this room.
No, that's not the worst shit that he said.
Okay. Well, I thought that's what you were talking about.
That's not the worst shit he said.
Because I was like that.
I actually, unfortunately, was watching The Breakfast Club live when he told Charlemagne the God, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Okay? I remember that. That to me...
We're talking about Biden or Trump?
Biden.
Okay, I was talking about Trump.
Well, no, hold on.
I remember Biden saying that, though, yeah.
That to me might have been the single most insulting thing I've ever heard come out of a white person's mouth. If I don't vote for you, I'm not black. Who the fuck is you to determine how black I am? You haven't spent a moment being black. You've been white your whole fucking life. You're gonna tell me I'm not black if I don't vote for you? Go fuck yourself, Joe. Right? You have no motherfucking right. You should be neat. All right. So
did you vote for Joe Biden?
No. Guy who may have said some racist shit versus a guy who wrote the 1994 crime bill that put a bunch of dudes like me in jail. Who's
Basically,
more?
a Trump supporter.
I'm like this.
You didn't answer the question he asked you about Trump. You went straight to Joe Biden.
Right.
You didn't answer his question though.
Right. Here's the
So
thing.
those are his questions about Trump. He asked you about Trump.
Right.
Race.
Right. No. Right. I'm about to answer it. I can't call myself a Trump supporter, but I do like the assholes. I do.
It's really showing.
Yeah, I know. I do like the assholes. But if you had to measure which of the two was more racist, it's not even fucking close. Like, dude, you put a whole bunch of black men in prison off of a draconian crime bill, okay, that lasted decades. Like, dude, your running mate, Kamala Harris, made her name by imprisoning black men in California.
You do the crime at the time.
Huh?
You do the crime at the time. Basically,
I'm with you on
the
that.
crime
But
at the time is
but
what
see-
she said,
but see-
yeah.
but I'm with you on that. But here's the problem with that. When people did the time, she fought to keep motherfuckers in. The state had to intervene and stop her.
So what? I'm on you with that.
Yeah.
Okay, but what kind of crime are you talking about though? Like, so you say, for instance, if you do a crime, you selling drugs to kids or whatever, you think you should only do 5 years to get out, or you should do your maximum time?
Okay, watch it.
Okay?
Oh, all right, so, all right.
You're a rapist. You think you should do the maximum time?
I put this. So when it comes to stuff like rape, I'm sorry, I'm a little fucked up. I'm about, saying South Carolina. Hold on.
How old are you?
I'm the oldest person here, I promise you.
How old are you?
I'm 45. Okay?
You got me about a few years.
I told you, I'm the oldest person here.
Go ahead.
Here in South Carolina, they reinstituted the firing squad. They should get bullets. Okay? I'm like, fuck spending money, housing and clothing them. They should get lead. You know what I'm saying? Just simple, very economic solution, and we free up prison beds. Fuck all that. So for people who sell drugs, right? Obviously there are people who they're smarter people than me, who pour over the nuances of jurisprudence and whatnot, and there has to be some kind of graduation. There has to be some.
It's not, because once you sell drugs, you get out, you go back and sell drugs again. You go back.
Listen, well, hold on. Not everybody, but I'm saying not everybody. However, like I said,
maybe 90%.
I don't listen. I can't quote the rates on recidivism offhand. I'm not gonna do it. But when it comes to something like murder, rape, no, you catch lead.
Talking capital crimes in this, yeah.
Yeah, I'm all about it too.
Breaking in, anything like that.
Yeah, I'm anything where someone gets hurt, you catch lead. Okay, fuck spending the money for medicines for lethal injection. Now you catch lead. You catch lead, no blindfold. You take those bullets to the eyes, and into that. I'm all about that. All right, because the hurt that they do to people, that lasts forever. So you should get something that lasts forever. Okay. But between the two, the thing with Trump is that if you look at Trump's record, right? If you look at his record, right? And this is gonna sound really perverse. I'm not asking for people to like him. I'm asking for people to prove me wrong. Okay? Prove me wrong. If you look at his record, that man has actually done more for black people than Obama. And that's sad.
Name one thing. Obama came in behind Bush. Country already fucked up when Bush was in the White House. It takes more than 8 years to try to correct anything that somebody has fucked up to the max.
Right.
Okay, you said Trump did more whatever for this type of person right here. Trump don't give a damn about me and you. Trump don't give a damn about us.
Well, guess what?
He don't give a damn about us.
Guess what?
He didn't give a damn about us.
Guess what?
Any man who make fun of retarded people and has a child.
Hold on.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me say something.
Anybody who the reporter on TV, he even made it feel like she was really dumb. She been doing her job for several years.
Let me
so
say.
My thing is,
let me
are
say.
you coming as Trump as being like the savior or hero?
I never said that.
Basically,
I never said that.
You said he done more for black people.
I never said he was a
And
savior.
it's not.
Oh, hold on.
It's
Let me
not.
let me finish.
Go ahead.
Let me finish. Right.
Okay.
So
Because she asked, what do you feel Trump has done for it? Yeah.
I'm about to answer that question too.
The question he asked you about Trump, you have not even answered that question. You went to Kamala, you went to
Hold on.
You never confirmed.
No, because that's the question you're listening closest to.
Yeah.
But I'm going to answer that.
Yeah, I want to
But
hear
all right,
your
but
Trump
in order,
question.
let me counter what you were about to say.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you were talking about he never cared about us. Well, here's the thing. That's the wrong mindset to take towards this individual. You don't put him in place to give a fuck about you, right? Hold on.
Okay, and us being who we are.
Yes.
We're not rich.
Right. Listen.
You know what I'm saying?
Listen.
Go ahead.
I stated about 15 minutes ago, right? The masses look towards people like him one way. The people who actually run shit look at them a totally different way. The people who actually run shit, they look at him like, I own this guy. Okay? They look at the president. They look at the president like he's the manager of the local McDonald's. He's a superintendent of the apartment building. Okay? You're not supposed to give a fuck what he thinks about you. What needs to happen is
What has he done besides giving us
okay.
What has he done?
He's actually giving money to HBCUs. Yes, he has. He's given
Tyler
way.
Perry. Oprah.
But Tyler Perry is not in office.
Let me ask
So
you a
when
question.
he's in office, that's a different question.
Church, he didn't even know what Creed was. He didn't even put money in the trade.
Well, guess what? He's not supposed to. Why you? No. Why are you expecting him to have that? He's your superintendent.
He doesn't know that about black people.
It doesn't
Because
matter.
He never
It does no.
until he got in office.
Here's
as a black person. One
here-
church he went to.
Here's my problem. Right? Why should we even give a fuck what he feels? That doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're
So
in
why
this.
you give a damn about what Joe Biden
Hold
did,
on.
Obama?
I'm gonna slide around you real quick. You mind if I swing back to you?
Hold on.
I'm just asking the question.
sit right over here.
Because I was actually responding before you interjected. Okay. The fact of the matter is, and this is a black problem. We actually give a fuck what people feel about us. This is a massive problem. We shouldn't ever give a fuck. The only people who should give a fuck about us in terms of collective is us. We shouldn't give a fuck about any other group, because every other group, they follow their own self-interest. So this whole idea that I should give a fuck that if Trump gives a fuck about me, this is infantile, because no other group has that. Everyone's like, okay, this guy's in this position. What leverage can I get on him in order to achieve my goals? Period. Point blank. The whole idea of giving a fuck what your elected leaders think about you is, like I said, it's infantile. This is the wrong attitude. Every other group looks at their politicians like, I own this guy. He owes me favors. There are contracts that need to be reconciled because of this guy. Instead of, well, he came to a black church, he did not know what to do with the collection plate. I don't give a fuck. Give me what I need. Your protocol in the black church is not tangible. Him affecting legislation, him affecting economic policy that benefits my people. That's what the fuck I give a fuck. Church. I need for you to create a situation where there's more black churches. Okay.
Do you feel like he
He wasn't gonna do that. Yeah. That's not something. I understand what you're saying on the point. So where you're saying as him being rich, they had no leverage over him, versus Obama not being as rich as him. You feel like they had leverage over Obama versus
He became a president.
because Obama was. He wasn't. Just because we were paying him doesn't mean.
Because the thing is, Obama entered the presidency an elite. They say Obama entered the presidency elite. Remember, this guy was the editor-in-chief of the Harvard Law Review. You know what I'm saying? By virtue of going to fucking Harvard, you know what I'm saying? You get a Harvard. First of all, he went to Columbia. He's a double Ivy graduate. He's already an elite. Okay, so the whole idea of Trump throwing around money, like people don't realize, like Obama's not one of us.
Let me
He
ask
will
you.
never be.
Let me ask you. Okay. So do you feel that Trump? Do you feel Trump fully understands the black community in a way
No.
in which? Okay. Do you feel Biden understands the black community?
Yes, but in the negative sense. But the thing is, you're choosing between a guy who doesn't really give a fuck versus a guy who was fucking best friends with Robert Byrd. Okay, you know who Robert Byrd is,
Yeah.
right? Okay, this guy started his fucking career 47 years ago as segregationist. Dude, don't get me started.
Are you saying the problem is a two-party system?
No, the problem is that we have parties to begin with.
That's what he's saying.
No, I'm not even saying that. The problem is that we have parties to begin with. Now, the people who framed our Constitution, right? Their vices aside, okay? You know what I'm saying? Their slaveholding aside, these were highly educated men, okay? Highly educated, very powerful men. George Washington put it in his farewell address that we should not have political parties because it leads to situations that we have now. Because in England you had the Whigs and the Tories and they were fighting and whatnot, and then the Whigs fell away, the Tories remained, and next thing you know, Labor rose. Okay? But the thing is, you can't get shit done because you have to adhere to a party platform. The one thing that George Washington did right was like he warned the country in his farewell address, and you can look it up, don't have no fucking political parties. Because what ends up happening is that your agendas get subsumed by the will of the political party.
You just dropped a piece of knowledge on us on British history.
Came at us in a big way. Considering we're sitting in a town that was named after a king of England.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
which blows my mind. So we've heard a lot of talk about a third party, right?
Yeah.
Now, if there's not a two-party system,
Yeah.
we don't have a true third-party representation, what would be the solution?
Abolish parties outright. Abolish parties outright, and every man has to raise funds on their own. You understand? Political parties are formed mostly for connections and fundraising. All right.
Yep.
You abolish those parties, right, and just let the cream rise to the top. There shouldn't be a majority leader. There shouldn't be a majority whip. There shouldn't be a minority whip. Abolish all of it. Abolish all of it and let the cream rise to the top. If what's his name, Lindsey Graham wants to run as whatever the fuck, let Lindsey Graham run as whatever the fuck. Okay. If Mitch McConnell wants to be so and so, let him so and so. If Jim Clyburn wants to be so and so, let him be so and so. We see what ends up happening when you have political parties. It's actually a gang mentality.
Okay.
And you have to join this gang. You have to join this gang in order to get shit done. You have to join this gang to survive. It's crazy. That's nuts.
Do you feel right now the nation, because of the situation just like that, the party system, is polarized in a way that we may not be able to come back from?
We're not coming back. It's over.
Guess what? Let me tell you how I feel about the situation.
Please do.
Okay. Me being a Democrat,
Okay.
I work for myself. I'm self-employed. I make great money. I got a beautiful home. My husband makes a great job. I don't care what nobody say. I'm not with the Republican thing. I don't have anything against Republicans, but you know what I'm saying? And things that he's saying, basically, he was Trump supporter. Put it like that.
Okay, and
that's fine. And that's fine. And that's wonderful.
Right. But see, the thing is,
But I understand. A lot of points that you made tonight was very accurate.
Right.
You made a lot of great points. I mean, everything you said. Yeah, trust me, I read too. I look up things too. Everything you said was great. I mean, and true. A lot of things really, really true.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we got to the point. Trump situation.
Like I said,
kind of wasn't
feeling. I understand people not like it. Listen,
Yeah, and everybody
like it.
Everybody's not going to agree, and that's
right.
We have our own opinion about everything.
That's
I'm
awesome.
a diehard Democrat.
Yeah.
I'm a Democrat side of this country.
But my thing is with Trump is how can you ever have any compassion or give a fuck about any type of, as far as relating to us, black community or poor community, when you've never been poor?
Never been
You don't
poor.
give a fuck
And
about
another
us.
thing
You've
too-
never been in a poor situation. You've never had to stretch out to pay another bill. You never missed a bill to pay this or
I say
missed
this?
a meal to pay
Can I
that.
say this?
So how can you care
watch
about
this.
us?
Watch this. First of all,
It's
let me-
whatever he's doing for
let me-
us
let-
is
right.
for him.
Right,
If
right.
he does
Let me
anything,
let me ask you this
it's for
question.
him.
Let me ask you this question. Which of any of our politicians have ever been poor?
Yeah, shit, a lot of them. His
At
shit,
the national
Obama's
level.
family was
Oh, yeah.
At the national level?
family was not the national level, but they like I
Because
said, they were never
talking
they
about
were
the
never
national level.
born rich or
Trump
never
was
have
born
been
into money.
rich.
Okay, did you ever
Yeah,
watch?
yeah,
you ever
the
watch
Bushes,
Good
they
Morning
always
Show?
been
No,
rich.
but
All
I'm
of them,
just-
I
I'm just-
You
understand.
I'm
ever
saying.
watch the Good Morning America show?
Yeah.
They had Whoopi Goldberg and them had Trump's son on there. He said his father never gave him anything. They said, what do you do for a living? Well, I run Trump's Tower. Your daddy gave you something. You run Trump's Tower. Well, they shut him down to the point where he left off stage. So Google the Good Morning Show. When they had Trump's son on there, they shut him down. All of the panel shut him down because your daddy gave you something. You run the
They've
Trump's
never
Tower.
been.
So,
They've
yeah, you
never needed.
it's
family business, yeah.
Right. But
Family business.
all right, my contention is this.
We work hard.
My
for what we
contention
have.
is
We work
why
hard.
are we
I bet.
expecting
I respect
I,
that in a big
you're
way.
right.
That's
I don't.
amazing.
Yeah, you
You're
should.
right. I agree. I agree.
You shouldn't expect for these people to care about you.
I agree.
They're superintendents.
And then the thing is,
They're
too, another
superintendents.
thing,
Your job is to do. Your job is to do as I say. Period. Point
Right.
blank.
And the thing for
Rulership
you,
mentality.
what I'm paused about, you sitting here as African American man, and you saying all these nigga things about black people that you claim they're not black, but they're basically our skin tone.
It doesn't matter about their skin tone.
I know
It
it's
doesn't
appalling, but
matter.
guess what?
That
But guess
appalls
what?
to me.
But guess
It's
but
not.
guess what?
I
Guess what?
agree.
Prove
I agree.
me wrong.
I agree with you. Yeah,
Prove me wrong.
I agree with you
Prove me
on
wrong.
that. I agree with
Prove me
you.
wrong. Prove me
I
wrong.
understand
I've never
with
heard
that.
anybody say the things that
There's not a drop of that woman, Kamala Harris,
I
that
agree
is
with
black.
I agree with that. She used.
And her
She
and
used
her
that
own
to
not
get to
white.
where
and her
You're
own.
not white, you're
hold on,
different
hold on.
ethnics.
Right. No.
That's the
wrong,
thing is-
You're
wrong.
not white.
That was
you're
another thing that's come up a lot this year too.
Wrong.
Yeah, you
wrong
are.
because she
You are a
because she
different ethnic.
you'll say
She's not fully but white. She's not white. She's not white. So
that's the only thing we can agree about.
But you know what?
But she ain't black either.
I got a question.
She ain't black either. Not drop her black.
You said you're a Democrat, right? You're leaning libertarian, Republican.
might
I'm not
be-
trying.
he
I'm
might
not.
No.
be independent.
I'm gonna tell you what I really am. I'm gonna tell you what I am because you're not. I'm gonna tell you what you really. In reality, I'm actually an anarchist. Okay.
My question is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys have different beliefs.
Yeah.
Different systems. What percentage would you guys say that you agree upon?
Of him, what he said.
Yes. Yes.
Out of 100%, I would say maybe I give him maybe 60%.
I've lived my
Damn,
best life
I give him
under
about 60%.
the Democratic,
great.
as far as the presidential system, the Democrats. And once again, the Democrats, most of those guys in the Congress, they make $100 grand. Those guys are worth. If you look them up, they're worth millions of
They're
dollars.
all millionaires.
The reason they're millionaires is because they live off of what goes on, as far as in the world. That's how they make their money, off of what goes on. And me personally, that's how we all make it. We live our best life under a democratic. For me, the presidential system, you know, everything that goes on, they make their money off of when like right now, the pandemic, everything right now, those guys are making that money off of.
Can I say
And
something?
me being self-employed, it hurt me.
Right. So
And I'm not saying that's for the good,
right.
but that's for the good for me. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm going for. I'm not saying that's the best way to
I'm gonna bring
go.
up two names.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring two names. I might bring up a third. Trayvon Martin, Freddie Gibbs. Okay.
They were all killed by what?
No. That's no. They happened under which presidency?
Democrat.
Oh, they did. What was the Democratic response from the highest appointed Democratic party operative?
I don't remember. Tell me.
That's the whole point. You just made my point that I made a half an hour ago. You still can't name two fucking things that Obama did.
Yeah.
You tell me two things he did.
And I'm
And you're
not-
right, but he can't prevent Trayvon getting killed. You know what
No,
I'm saying?
I'm talking about the response.
Yeah,
I didn't.
I
I,
agree
no, I
with
said
you.
response. I
But
didn't.
the-
I didn't say prevention. I
Yeah,
said
yeah,
response.
I
You still
agree
cannot
with
name two things that he did.
And you're right, but guess
I agree
what?
with that. I'm not pro.
So he was. So he was.
or
So
anything like
so
that either.
so
I mean, that's
so
fine.
so in effect, he wasn't actually the fucking president because he didn't actually do anything. He took a check. He took a check. He took a connection, but he
Let's
didn't actually do anything.
Let's talk more local then, because we're talking about something that's a real hot button right now.
Okay.
With police involved fatalities.
Okay.
Right? So that being more of a local issue, right? We're talking on.
Okay. Another thing. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, please go ahead. Go ahead.
You saying Trayvon Martin? What about Breonna Taylor? You know, so what about those people that got killed under Trump?
Okay.
Go ahead. So what did Trump do?
So
You Google that?
here's the thing.
The guy who got killed in
Watch
his
this.
car.
Watch this. I'm about to apply a tonic to that. Basically, nothing happened under both, right? But you're placing your faith in the Democratic Party.
No, it's not.
No, we're not placing faith. I'm telling you what I am.
No, but you're placing your allegiance. You're placing your allegiance with the Democratic Party. I said, okay, when the Democrat had 8 years, still can't name 2 things he accomplished. I defy anyone to do
Well, if we move past that, so we can agree that one of the things I said, like we were talking about right before you folks came back out, we were talking about how the nation being so amazingly polarized right now because of politics, how it came down to this divide where I was at Trump rallies, interviewing folks all over the nation, and I got grief for it because I didn't go to Biden rallies, but there were no Biden rallies to go to because he had the car rallies. But I'm not trying to crap. You couldn't go to those, but what I did see was that there was a little kid. One of the kids came up to me in Jaysville up in Wisconsin. He had a black eye, and I was like, "What happened to your eye?" And he got beat up defending my sister at school, and I was like, "What happened?" He was like, "Oh, my sister told her classmates that her parents voted for Trump, and they beat her up." The kid was 11 years old, and it was his little sister, 10-year-old girl, and I saw something in that broke my heart, and the fact that like where we're at right now is talking about a Republican president, Democratic president, no party president, but what it came down to was a divide in the country because it came down to just that, like, well, who are you voting for? And that became almost a trigger for a fight, and people were afraid to say who they voted for up until after the election.
Relationships,
right?
And the relationships split.
And it did. I'm talking coworkers, family members.
It's fucked up Tinder profiles, yeah.
But what I'm looking for is we can agree that we're not always going to agree.
Yeah.
But what collectively can we do? And I look at this because I look at our youth a lot, and I really think that right now, and like what you said, is that the polarization that we've got, we're not coming back from.
It's not coming back.
But the thing that I keep finding in the common thread, I was out in Louisville and I talked to some folks there in the black community, the same thing. And I'm not talking in black communities, I'm talking in all communities. But what we're talking about is an opportunity to teach our children something different and to give them a healthy and safe platform that they can develop it tomorrow that they want based off of the hard work we're putting in today. And so I wonder what hard work could we put in today that's going to better give them the tomorrow that they deserve.
Push for homeschooling.
Homeschooling, okay.
Because a lot of the problem begins with not being able to control your education, not being able to properly indoctrinate your children, not being able to properly mold your children.
Okay.
All right. Education takes a long time, but education is the best cure.
Okay.
Because when you properly inculcate people, the benefits, are realized many years, generations later. It really truly comes out of education. But the problem is you have state education, so now you're subject to the diktat of the state, right? As opposed to what the parents want, as opposed to what the community wants. So there has to be a push. There has to be a large scale push for smaller education, more local education. And homeschooling. You gotta take that shit away from the state. Start there. Okay. Right? Like the solutions will probably take a generation to be realized.
And there we go. So this is what y'all have kids?
Yes, we do.
Okay, you do. So
I don't agree with the homeschooling because I feel like, racism starts from the home. Racism starts, you can't push it away and keep it from, because like I said, racism starts from the home. It has to start in a platform like what you're doing to get other people talking about it, to where they're going home talking about it with their families and bringing it up at their family table or wherever they have their family gatherings, to where we can all get together and talk about it, as one, whether it's the church or whatever. The church is not always the best place to, you know, I live in Mississippi, you know, it's the Bible Belt, and you have more black churches and white churches, you know, less congregated churches to where it's a multi-platform of people of anywhere, and that's the Bible Belt. I just don't understand it, you know, and everybody doesn't believe in the Bible, you know, so I disagree with that. You have to conjoin our races with each other, but it starts from the home to be able to, you know, talk about it in the home. And our generation is the generation now. We're the generation that's talking about it, that wants to do something about it. We just got to we have to take a foot forward to actually make something happen. And I think, you know, we need the public schools. We need black and white. You know, we need that black and white. We need the other cultures to get together and, you know, conform. And it's happening. I see it happening, but you got that homebody, you know. You got the grandfathers, you got the grandmothers that are still out there, that are still racist, and it's definitely in Mississippi. They're still racist. You got, you know, multicultural marriages and interracial, you know, marriages and children, and you got those grandparents and those grandmothers. And what I say in Mississippi, the best part about it is when you have an interracial grandchild, that's when the most, I love it, that's the most racist person. They change their ways because they love that grandchild.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when you see that mixed grandchild and how they change for their grandchild, it's a complete different reaction.
Let me tell you another thing too. Have you ever watched the Chrisleys right on TV?
No.
You know what, on USA they're like,
oh, it's a Southern family. That's the one I thought we were talking about earlier. The Chrisleys. So you're kind of an effeminate fella, but you got okay. Yeah.
They have a biracial granddaughter. Love her to death.
Right.
Love her to death. Like they adopted her.
Sure.
Love her to death. You know what I'm saying? So they, like my husband just said, they change when they grandchild.
That's the best thing to me when you have an interracial
man, I gotta say.
I mean,
what beauty part?
Their whole perspective on black and white. And
about what? I
because
think
they don't want their grandchild to face what's going on in the world, so they change their whole perspective on a black person that we're gonna get treated, because they don't want that to happen to their grandchild. So they kind of change their ways, and I see it a lot.
I got you. Yep. So he's just saying we got to wrap because this guy's here, but I love where we got. I'll take the time to talk to me there. I think we really hit some hot points, but yeah.
Ask Cat over here about his race.
What was your name? I'm sorry, we never even got your name.
Kamal.
CJ. Xavier.
I'm Passion.
Pleasure to meet you all.
Real quick, like, what did you guys experience growing up from like a child to now with racism?
To be honest,
be honest.
I'm born. I'm an early '80s baby. I'm born in '81. Yeah. I never experienced racism because the people I went to school with, I'm still friends with now, white people. So I never experienced that. I'm from Grenada, Mississippi. Yeah. So I'm still friends with people that I went to school with. So I didn't experience that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Anything like that, because my classmates' parents were teachers. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it was like a circle. You know what I'm saying? So I never experienced that, basically, period.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I experienced it a lot growing up. I grew up in a rough neighborhood. And I'm pretty much pro-self, and I feel like, you know, with myself, if I could make it, then, you know, I'm pro-self to where if I make it, then I can get other people out. And that was my whole goal, to be able to make it and then get, you know, some of my brothers and sisters and get those people out. So I experienced it, and as I've grown, it has changed, and us being in Mississippi, it has changed for sure. But it's changed for me, not only as far as the economical status that I'm in, that has changed too, and you see that change, but it is still, no matter how much money I make, you can never change I can never change my skin color, so it doesn't matter. You know, they don't know. You know, so you know, it's different levels to it. It's always different levels to it, but you can never change your skin color.
Right. But I think one of the things that we've all said here that I really love is that, like you mentioned, that we need to go back to the home, like for schooling. You mentioned like even like how these younger generations almost just by birth are going to start educating these older generations that it's okay to love me because of who I am, not because of what color I am, right?
But I would never homeschool. I want my child to be able to be busy, be around other
kids,
different ethics, whatever.
Well, and we were talking about different ideas with more like localized schools, independent schools, things that are giving free thought, free opportunity there with the educational aspect where it's not so state run. But
To wrap up, you guys are amazing. I appreciate everyone taking the time to chit chat. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Appreciate you.
I know.